Good afternoon, and on behalf of the University of Reading, may I welcome you to our great hall. Before we start this afternoon's ceremony, I have a few short announcements. In the unlikely event that we need to evacuate the Great Hall, will you please note that there is an exit at the front of the hall on our left-hand side, and on both sides at the rear of the hall. The assembly point is the White Gates car park, which is the large car park adjacent to our Great Hall. The marshals located around the Great Hall will be on hand to direct and assist you. If you are in possession of a mobile phone, please switch it off or make it silent now and ensure that it remains off or on silent for the duration of this afternoon's ceremony. As you ascend the stage, please walk all the way to the white line and doff your cap. Remember to turn and wait a moment while your official photograph is taken. At the end of the ceremony, please make your way over to our shuttle bus, which will take you to our White Knights campus, where our postgraduate celebrations will then commence. We encourage you to stay in your seats throughout the entire ceremony. Sadly, we are unable to accommodate guests standing in the aisles due to our fire safety regulations. In order for everyone to enjoy today's ceremony, we ask all guests to remain seated until the end of the ceremony to limit disruption. Thank you for your support on this. Finally, please do remember to clap and celebrate each other's achievements throughout this afternoon's ceremony. Graduates and honoured guests, will you now please be upstanding for the arrival of this afternoon's procession?
Please do take a seat. I'm Paul Linley, and I'm the Chancellor of the University of Reading, and so it's my huge pleasure to welcome you on behalf of the University to this graduation ceremony. Now, offering a welcome is important to anybody and in any context, but I think it's especially so today. Because we've got those graduating who, for today, marks the culmination of a successful chapter in your lives. And while many of you will be moving on, or perhaps have already moved on, please do remember that there always will be a huge welcome for you here, a place that's been home from home for a good part of your lives. And to our guests, with us perhaps just for today, I offer you an exceptionally warm welcome to our university and our community. So before we get underway, a few pieces of information to make sure that we all know what we're doing for this next hour. So first of all, graduates, your degree will be officially and formally conferred upon you at this ceremony. Today's graduates have been split into 4 processions, which will come up one group at a time. Each graduate will then be summoned individually by name to the platform by the university orator. And then, acting under the authority vested in me by the university, I will doff my cap over the university mace, which formally confers your degree. Then, if you make sure you're standing by the little marker down here, we can face this gentleman and get our photograph taken. And then you'll descend the steps, go over to the side room, get your certificate, and return to your seat. So, fellow graduates and colleagues, this congregation is steeped in the university's history and its tradition. But above all, it's a joyous occasion where we celebrate the achievements of those processing, and so please do feel free, however it takes you, to show your appreciation in whatever form to each and every one of them.
By the authority of the Council and of the Senate of the University of Reading, this congregation has been summoned for the conferment of degrees. Chancellor, candidates will now be presented for their degrees. Chancellor, I present to you these candidates to whom the postgraduate certificate is to be awarded.
I award to each of you the postgraduate certificate of this university.
Education, Kalpana Sorub. Education Studies, Alaoua Bilal. Chancellor, I present to you these candidates to whom the postgraduate certificate in education is to be awarded.
I award to each of you the postgraduate certificate in education of this university.
General Primary, Suha Ahmed. Amelia Ball. Shelby Benson. Joshua Bethel. Amy Brogden. Chloe Burnett. Alexander Butler. Amy Crocker. Lucy Croxford. Nisa Faisal. Jenna Groves. Shruti Gupta. Anna Hinchcliffe. Fraser Jennings. Martina Russell Smith. Charlotte Strong. Tasneem Syed. Scarlett Taylor-Jones. Charlotte Tibbett. Primary 3 to 7, Lydia Lyons. Felicity McComb. Hannah Louise Mullins. Sarah Victoria Smith. Iona Elizabeth Yarwood. Primary with Special Educational Needs, SEN. Rahira Hannah Libby Greatrex. Paloma Mo Hamilton Bowker. Ivy Parrish Smith. Evie May Taylor. Katie Ann Taylor. Secondary Education, Art and Design. Louise Amy. Sei Quan Chow. Anderson Amy James. Adriani Cui. Arlene Rangel Lemus. Anastasia Tomlin. Secondary Education, Design and Technology. Nicola Dudley. Anna Kia. Nicholas Luffrey. Diana Ma. Noman Nadim. Elizabeth Webster. Chancellor, I present to you these candidates to whom the Postgraduate Certificate in Education is to be awarded.
I award to each of you the Postgraduate Certificate of Education of this university.
Secondary Education English, Matthew Brazil. Joanna Cook. Thomas Crane. Rihanna Forster. Ellis William Heaton. Jade Eilert. Emily Jackson. Abda Begum Khan. Lauren Nichols. Jamie Pierce. Matthew Price. Shahida Parveen Rias. Katja Van Noort. Millie Venables Perrette. Natalie Victoria Wiltshire. Alice Wright. Secondary Education Geography, Stephanie May Dobbin. Elena Francis. Michael Goddard. Charlie Guy. Charlie Jordan. Charlotte Parkinson. Adam Rawls. Poppy Zoe Chloe Saywell. Eleanor Wallace. Secondary Education History. Manar Abdullah. Emily Churchill. Sebastian Anthony Harmer. Aspasia Liu. Jonathan Matty. James Pole. Megan Richards. Tom Vincent. Secondary Education Mathematics. Aisha Abid. Ian Hawkes. Matthew Hawkins. Samreen Malik. Kausalya Padhi. Heather Richards. Caitlin Riley. John Spooner. Georgia Thorpe. Aisha Usha Gopalan. Chancellor, I present to you these candidates to whom the Postgraduate Certificate in Education is to be awarded.
I award to each of you the Postgraduate Certificate in Education of this university.
Secondary Education, Mathematics. Charlotte Vale. George Wright. Yuteng Zhang. Secondary Education, Modern Foreign Languages. Johnny Bland. Rosanna Caitlin Brown. Grace Ines Bruno Salguero. Andrew Clark. Anastasia Handley. Flavie Arfida. Ewa Beata Quartek. Constanza Parayas. Gulsa Parlak. Sophie Catherine Parslow. Maria Chimina Zuninga Salazar. Secondary education, physical education. Matthew Anderson. Jamie Cable. Natalie Daisy Davidson. Charlotte Easling. Harry Finton G. Aidan Mark Harris. Josh Hodgkins. Catherine Heather Jessamine. Eleanor Caitlin O'Meara. Nikita Santucci. Lily Stirrup. Leanne Turnbull. Secondary education, physics with mathematics. Albert Sylvester Cow Asibu. Eris Collins Kenish. David Verabelli. Yungfei Wang. Secondary education, science with biology. Elizabeth Jane Brown. Chancellor, I present to you these candidates to whom the Postgraduate Certificate in Education is to be awarded.
I award to each of you the Postgraduate Certificate in Education of this university.
Secondary Education, Science with Biology. Melba Collier. Henry Gillespie. Prashita Gupta. Shannon Francis Hill. Judith Lloyd-Betcher. Harry Lovibond. Secondary Education, Science with Physics. Thomas Bryant. Ryan Evans. Omorochanwan Peter. Charanjit Singh. Chancellor, I present to you these candidates to whom the Professional Graduate Certificate in Education is to be awarded.
I award to each of you the Professional Graduate Certificate in Education of this university.
General Primary, Rebecca Catherine Cann. Neve Elizabeth Farrell. Ophelia Eve Hackett. Amelia Mathers. Ella Middleton. David Miles. Bryony Rowe. Nuhaila Seif. Rachel Smith. Louise Whitehead. Hannah Whitaker. Sithi Risla Zamir. Primary 3 to 7. Fiona Elizabeth Rowe Holdsworth. Primary with Special Educational Needs, SEN. Ruby Cooper. Ella Jane Elise Lewandon. Secondary Education English, Miranda Arnouche. Secondary Education History, Zebedee Wheeler. Secondary Education, Physical Education, Dominic Michael Seaman. Chancellor, I present to you these candidates to whom the degree of Bachelor of Arts has been awarded.
I admit each of you to the degree of Bachelor of Arts of this university.
Primary Education, Emily Winchester. Primary Education with English, Liam O'Connell. Chancellor, it has been agreed that the remaining candidates be admitted in absence.
I admit each of these candidates to the relevant qualification of this university. Well, very many congratulations again to our graduates. Now, we all know today is a big day for dressing up in our finest, isn't it? Looking around, I can see that everyone has put in that extra effort today, and that's another thing that everyone here excels at doing. So, graduates, families, supporters, academics, you all deserve an extra distinction award today for the way you've dressed. But today is not just your graduation day, it's also Christmas jumper day today, when people in workplaces and schools wear their most colourful, festive outfits to raise money for charity. And like us, what they're really doing is they're making a statement in what they wear, to bind as a community around a single collective effort. And I'll leave you guessing as to whether I'm riding two horses today and I've got my laughing snowman with its LED lights on under this gold and black camouflage. We'll see. But never mind what we're wearing and the dress code. Today isn't really about that. It isn't about me or my snowman. It's not really about the professors and the tutors on stage here. It's all about you. You've made it through exams and essays and study. You've achieved triumphs and you've overcome setbacks. And you will have grown as thinkers and as citizens and as people as you've been with us. You've learned about yourself and about the people who you've met along the way here. Many of you whom now will be lifelong friends and colleagues, some of you. And so in a few minutes you'll walk out of this great hall and this great university, not just with your diploma or your degree, but also with a completed story from what's happened here. And each of you will have a unique story that only you can tell about your experience here. And you're part of a bigger story too, because this academic year we will celebrate our centenary as a university. So that's 100 years of educating and discovering and serving. And for 100 years, smart, optimistic people, optimistic teachers, like you, have sat in this very hall, each of them with their own unique story. And every one of those University of Reading graduates, right back from 1926 to just now, sat there, determined to go forward and make their mark on the world. And they now include you. But you're not the end of that story. You're just the beginning of a new chapter, one that will have plots and characters that have still yet to be written. But right now, you're the heroes of our story, and the worthy successors to those who have sat where you sit now before you. And you should know that we see you, we recognise your achievements and your potential, and I think for that you deserve one more round of applause from us. And there's another group of people here who deserve our recognition. Your supporters from your family and your friends have been with you and helping you every step of your way. And they've played a vital role in your achievement. And I can see, standing here, how so proud they are of what you've achieved. So I think now would be a good time for you, our graduates, to show appreciation and thanks to them too, and I'd like to lead that for you. And this ceremony is our last ceremony for our winter graduations this week. And all week I'd like personally to add my thanks to the team that has put the whole events on, the organist behind us that has kept us calm but also upbeat. A lot goes into this, and I thank every one of them. Thank you. So I love graduation days because I am so lucky to be able to stand in this spot and have the privilege to witness the optimism and the celebration and the joy of high-achieving and smart people like you. But much more than that, I love the togetherness and the collectiveness that it always brings, because we've just experienced this ceremony as people together. People dressed in their finest, but we're people simply. And in the years to come, when you look back on your time with us, I don't think your first thoughts will be about the buildings or the campus or the town. I don't think you'll really remember the knowledge that you've created or the diploma and degree that you've just received. I think you'll remember your friends and your colleagues and the experiences and inspirations that you've given to each other. You'll remember the people that were here. And really, a university is just a collection of people, isn't it? This one was back in 1926, and it very much still is now. It's people. And you have just become the latest members of a pretty exclusive club of people, graduates from the University of Reading. And you are an impressive company. You're now part of a group that includes the author and poet Michael Rosen, the TV meteorologist Laura Tobin, rowing legend James Cracknell, and the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Amina J. Mohammed, all graduated where you're sitting here. And I don't want to put any pressure on you here, but it would be kind of helpful, please, if you could emulate their success and secure a massive publishing deal, maybe, or be on our TV screens every day, multiple gold medals and, I don't know, world peace. But I do know that most of you, if not all of you, are already doing or will do one of the most important jobs that our society can have in teaching our children and our next generation. And we thank you for committing to that. And whatever you do next, and those other things aren't mutually exclusive to the fantastic career of teaching, I hope that you'll take on the same spirit, that you'll want to contribute and you'll want to serve throughout your lives. And whatever you do, you should know that you will always be part of and be supported by this community. And my simple request to whatever it is next, but let's assume it's teaching, I'd ask you to keep alive that magic spirit of youth as a state of mind, perhaps for some of us, rather than a stage of age, but that has seen you through these student years here, that you'll see in your classrooms, that you have shown in the curiosity and bravery for taking on the challenge of becoming a graduate. And I could see in your eyes as we met a little earlier. You know, I still try and keep my youthful spirit very much alive every single day. My journey from sitting, clutching my brand new degree certificate, to standing here today with grey hair and gold bling somehow, that's been travelled trying to hold my student version of myself always close. And when I do look for inspiration to what comes next for me, I often think back to the posters that I used to stick on my undergraduate wall some 35 years ago or so. And one of those posters was of my hero entrepreneur. She's Anita Roddick, who founded The Body Shop in the 1970s, and she brought a whole new sense of ethics to business. And I looked to her words when I was building my business and becoming a successful entrepreneur. And I do still look to her words for inspiration when I try to make sense of my journey in life. And I'm holding close her advice to all of us, when she once said, if you think you're too small to make a difference, try going to bed with a mosquito. You be the mosquito in the education system. You teach your students to be the mosquito in their lives. And as you are that mosquito, and as you do move on to the next stage of your adventure, I'd kind of offer one more thought, and that's to remember to keep you unique. There isn't another you. So use your unique experiences and your knowledge and your ideas, your voice, your intelligence, those relationships, that inspiration you are going to give your students from your own stories, each developed here to do just that. Don't be somebody who isn't you because you think you need to conform. You can be proud of the smart and curious person you are right now, and you know, by keeping you, the rest of us here, we just can't wait to see where you take you next. Congratulations. So, graduates and guests, I would now ask you please to rise as I declare this degree congregation closed.